Welcome to the Beyond the Leash podcast, the show where we dive into the world of service dogs and beyond the leash, unleashing the truth, breaking down the barriers, and sharing these incredible stories behind those harnesses. I am your host, Service Dog Educator.
And I'm Bumblebee.
Whether you're a handler or an ally or just curious, you're in the right place. Let's get ready to learn, laugh, and be inspired because life is better with a working dog by your side. Let's get into the video, shall we?
And that it is.
Oh my goodness, we have an incredible topics today, but before we get into those topics, we are going to talk about the latest news in the service dog community. We're going to try and make this annual thing that's coming up every day now, every week I should say, about us giving out the latest news. Alright, so the latest news that we have on the service dog community in general is that I'm going to call them Oz because I can't say their full name because for some reason my mouth doesn't want to work that way. But basically they
hold on. Say Oz.
Oz win.
Win. There you go. Oz win. There you go.
Oswin posted a latest video on their YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please go check it out. We encourage you guys to go and check out the video and give your own opinion on this. But they have created a video about Ace and Smoking Chaos, or Token Smokin'. Other may know her as that, about what they have also been doing in the service dog community and how they basically are allegedly groomed Maddie or grooming Maddie. Maddie has claimed this as well. Apparently, as in recent news, I personally have known Token. I used to go into their live when I first was a new creator on here and started going live and everything. And to me, they were a good person in the beginning. It wasn't until when after the whole issue with another creator happened with me and I started losing followers, and to regain my followers I had a bunch of friends in there, and I did have a creator who we shall not name because I'm afraid he's like a Voldemort. But he proceeded to give me misinformation about something that was allegedly going to happen about emotional support animals. And so I was giving that information out there because at the time I believed what they have said, because they were very much of a pillar in the community, very well known, very well educated and everything. And they proceeded to tell me that because I spreaded misinformation, they were going to block me. I thought that they had me blocked. Apparently I'm not blocked anymore or anything, at least as far as I'm aware. But basically, if you, like I said, if you haven't already, please check out the video. They just go into detail about how they are grooming Maddie, how they groomed Maddie, how they themselves smoke with their dog in there, which I have seen, and I don't think it's okay for anyone to.
Can I quickly point out that grooming SA or grooming allegations are not just for SA. There's also emotional grooming, which doesn't rely on a, sexual kind of connotation. I quickly want to point that out because, grooming has very many kind of offshoots to it. It's not always financial. It's not always sexual. It's not always, it's not always that. It's also emotional.
100%. And I think when it comes down to minors are very, how do I put this?
Emotionally driven.
Emotionally driven and can be easily manipulated as well because they don't know right from wrong. They don't know, like to a certain extent, they don't understand the world correctly. And this is why I also tell minors when they come into my live, they're welcome to get education. They're welcome to sit, even chat in there. There's a reason why I won't allow them in the box. There's a reason why I won't mentor anybody who is under the age of 18 is because, number one, that's creepy. Number two, you don't have the capability of having your mind grow enough yet. That takes time to do, and your mind doesn't stop developing until you're 25, or as is for a female. Males, as we say, it's a lot older. I believe it's like 30 for males,
It's
or
it's
like
usually around 29, 30.
I was gonna say 29 or 30, but sometimes males take even longer to point that out.
I
But
agree.
to keep going and everything about the breaking news and stuff like that, I personally just I don't want anything to do with smoking either. I think that the information that they give is wrong, and I've also seen them take their puppy out in public spaces. Now, what the store that they were in, is it pet friendly? I have no idea. It could have been a pet friendly store, but I just personally don't think any dog, including a puppy, should be out in public to a certain extent. And this is my opinion. I don't think anyone should have a dog if they are homeless. I think that it takes like care for the dog that you need to have, and I just personally don't think anyone should own a dog if they're homeless. I think that you need to get your affairs in order and, find someplace stable to live in and not hotel hopping, and understanding that they also, have a child who is a minor, which we're not going to mention names or anything of the child either, because I want to respect the child and their privacy. And knowing that they're on the spectrum, at least not saying that they're not. This is what it has claimed to be. Again, not saying that they're not. They could most definitely be. When I've witnessed in her lives prior to my kids being diagnosed, is that I would have believed that the individual is autistic, but still. I don't know their medical records or have any of their medical records, so I can't say definitively yes they are autistic. But that's what they claim to have is the child has autism. The way that they speak to their child to me is it while I have a colorful language and everything, and I do. It's not that I don't cuss around my kids, but I don't.
You don't cuss
I
at your
don't
kids.
no, I don't tell them to, shut the F up. I don't tell them to do any, like, especially when they're stimming or they're been in a car all day or anything else like that. I try to be reasonable as much as possible, especially with, my oldest son having the severity that he does. And it also, no, like, again, me, um, my kids are under the age of 5, so they don't go to school or they don't have any like public school to go to. But Bumble, you can attest to this. We go to therapy constantly for these kids. We're going to ABA, we're going to OT, we're going to physical, we're going to feeding, we're going to speech. We're doing some sort of therapy every single day.
Give or
And
take, yeah.
yeah, pretty much. And, when they do become of age to go to kindergarten, I do want them to go to public school. And a lot of like special needs parents are telling me, it's sometimes with kids with autism, it's not a good idea, blah, blah, blah. And with the school day and age now, of course, I can understand why some adults are kind of shy from it, especially if the individual is homeless and doesn't have a house. Their CPS can be called on the child, or the child can get made fun of due to the fact that um
I think. Well, hold on. I think smoking homeschools her child, so I'm not too sure um, what the situation is. But either way, CPS can be called at any time, especially if you're hotel hopping. Especially if they catch word that you're hotel hopping. That's
well,
actually
and
what
I've also
happened.
seen them excuse me, I've also seen them, and again, I don't know what state they live in. This could be legal where they're at, but I've seen them use substance of Mary Jane. From what it looks like to me, it could be
With the
something
child in the
different
car, yeah. I
with
actually
the
watched
child
the
and the dog.
I actually watched her this afternoon. I just was scrolling on my FYP, and for some reason she just pops up every now and then, and she was packing Mary Jane in a bowl,
And she was,
and her
using
kid
it
was in the
to
back
drag
seat
it off.
as usual. Dog was in the front seat. Her kid was in the back seat.
And I just, to me and everything, I'm not against anyone who uses Mary Jane or anything else like that. But I
Secondhand smoke
don't
is a
think,
thing.
yeah, I don't think it should be in a car with a child. I don't think it should be in a car with a dog.
Windows cracked
My
or not.
husband is, well, my husband is a nicotine and the vape kind of
A
like things, right?
partaker.
Yeah, he's partaker in those kind of things, right? And he never smokes it in the car with the kids.
Or in the house.
And well, he has a designated area in the house when the kids are not there. Yes. Um,
But not active.
the kids do not be are not in there though.
Yeah.
When he is actively smoking the vape or
Anything
the
else.
other. Yeah.
Yeah. He has a designated spot that is safe for the children and safe for you, safe for your dogs. Also, I quickly want to point out that MJ is very toxic to dogs, even in secondhand situations, or if they get a hold of it, it can be potentially fatal.
Right. And I just to say, I just think this individual, they like to claim that, oh, we don't start issues, but they're very much of a drama starter a lot of the times, and they're I'm trying to think of how to word this correctly. It just they're there to talk. It's I feel like
Instigate.
Matthew was groomed. I feel like they allow minors up on their platform to groom them or to talk about things that they shouldn't be talking about with minors, regardless if they're doing it at the kindness of the hearts or whatever the case is. I just think it's weird. I don't allow minors up on my platform, and at the end of the day, TikTok rules state what they state, and I really do hope that they start. Um,
Learning.
no, I'm talking to TikTok. I really do hope TikTok starts cracking down and making sure that the people in a box is
The age that they say they
the
are.
age that they say they are, regardless. Because I know a lot of like their friend group believes that Maddie is emancipated, and I even said in our last video about Maddie claiming to be emancipated. But for what the research that I have done from the people that I have talked to, she's not emancipated. And even if she is emancipated, TikTok guidelines clearly state that it doesn't matter of emancipation or not, they still can't be on a TikTok live stream.
Yeah.
They can't be in a box. You have to be 18 years old. And I don't know. Like, that's just, I don't know if the grandmother knows exactly what emancipation means. I don't know if Maddie understands what emancipation means. I don't know any of that. But
I'm
that's
going
the
to err on the
latest
side of caution
breaking.
that they don't know anything at all.
Me too. But that is the latest breaking news of drama or news in the service dog community. We will definitely keep, doing news updates on something that's going on in the community if we can. Every week, hopefully. If not, like as soon as news breaks, we'll definitely do it. But let's get into the topics today. So, first topic we have is state law versus the ADA. What overrides what? So this is a really great topic for those of you who are knowing of your state laws and knowing of the federal laws and what can override what. So we all know that federal law overrides state law, and state law overrides county law, and then county law overrides store policy, and then nothing else like goes above store policy at that point. And everything. So
Well, hold on a minute, because federal law also goes over above store policy as well.
that's what I'm meaning, though. If
Yeah.
it's like it goes over federal law is the top person, nothing goes over federal law. Then you have your own state law. Then you have your county law. Then you have the store policy. Store policy is at the down thing, but there's nothing else that would go after that. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Um. So when it comes down to federal law, while nothing overrides it, you can bend not bend it but add on to it. For example, while in federal law cats are not recognized as service animals in every single 50 state that there is, In certain states, they allow them in that only state, like Maryland, Alaska. Those states do allow cats as service animals within those states, so that way they're protected in that state. But it's not federally protected. Now, state law does override county law, which your county law can say one can not state one thing, but they can't override that. They can't say, oh, because service dogs in training have to be vested. Well, your state law says that they don't, so they can't do that. But again, they can add on to it, or they can, I don't want to say bend it because it's not really bending it. It's more or less
And
just
it's not really
adding to
taking away from it either. It's
it.
mainly primarily adding to it. What's really funny is I actually had this conversation with my mother earlier today, actually. She was asking me, all the laws, because my mother is actually a landlord now, and she's been asking me a lot of questions about service animals, and what is a service animal, what isn't a service animal. She's even asked me personally to look over people who are signing up for rent, to look over their doctor's note to make sure that they're legitimate or not. um and if they're not, then my parents act accordingly. And of course, I know all the websites where they're based out of. I show my parents exactly where they're, where they got this from, how much it costs to, to get scammed. And thankfully my parents are pretty now well off with doing that. But there are still some questions that they have here and there. But your state laws can override your local laws, but some local laws are like, like you can have, like in my county, there's we don't have a voluntary registration, but there's another county in my state that I found out recently that does have a voluntary registration for service animals. But that's only in that particular municipality.
Right. And that's kind of like how, most of these laws are, where it doesn't override it, it just adds on to it.
Yeah. And that's really what the whole, thing is that a local and a state law can add to, but not take away from. Like they can't say, oh, well, it's mandated that you have a registration, because then that clashes with what the federal law says, which is what governs everything, because that's where you get into trouble.
Right.
And I
And
actually had to explain that to my mother as well.
I've had to explain it to a lot of family members and a lot of people. And so basically the whole gist of, this topic is, you got to check in with your state laws and knowing of your federal laws and everything to go in all with that, because when it comes down to you knowing what you need to know, you're when you go into court, you're going to be your own lawyer to a certain extent. While you can have a defender with you, you can have a lawyer with you when it goes into it. Those cost money. A lot of people, a lot of us disabled individuals, or a lot of individuals just can't afford a lawyer as it is. So you're going to want to know your own law, so you could be like, no, excuse me, Mr. Judge. That's actually part of our state law, or that's part of our county law, or that's a federal law thing, blah, 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 blah. You can defend yourself to the full extent of the law as much as possible. Or when it comes to like access issues, bam, you got the state or the county law, or you got the federal law on your side. You can do these things without needing a law degree. And a lot of people ask me, like, why are you on here educating about the law when you're not a lawyer? Well, you don't have to be a lawyer to know the law at the end of the day. I don't need a law degree to know the law. I just
Now,
need to know the law.
there is a saying that says that a person that has themselves as a lawyer has a fool for a client. Now, however, that's not to say that you don't know the laws. You can still know the laws and technically not be a lawyer. I mean, look at me. I mean, I technically passed a mock bar exam, and I have not gone to law school once. It's not hard to look up laws and to look up municipality rules, to look up statutes, to look up state statutes, federal statutes. I'm glad that I have the resources that I do, but it's easy to, follow the rabbit hole if you know where to look. Speaking of where to look, educator, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Where do these lovely folks happen to find all said information about the federal law?
Oh, great question. Thank you for asking me so much. It's called the ADA.gov website. It is linked in my bio and also coming here soon. We don't know the exact time yet, but I myself am creating a online course that you can pay a amount of money. It hasn't been disclosed of how much money, but I bet you it's going to be an opportunity you don't want
Affordable.
to pass up. It is going to be very affordable. It's only going to be literally a one-time fee for you to be able to get access to the course and take a quiz and be able to know all the things that I know about service dog laws. And again, you can come on here and learn more as well. Leo, stop it.
Wow! Incredible information. I'm going to go to ada.gov and check it out.
And please stay tuned for the online course that is coming here soon of you guys and this is not just for service dog handlers. This is not for veterans. This is not for disabled individuals. This online course is for everybody. We have been discussing prices and everything, and like I said, it is going to be so affordable. You guys, literally, it's going to be a one-time fee, and it's literally depending on where you live, it could be a tank of gas for you. That's how cheap it's going to be, guys. And I am so excited, so excited for this course to come out. I think it's going to do so much help with you guys and you guys getting to know what I know in law form and me being able to teach you what sometimes I can't do in these lives. And there's also you're going to be able to get an appointment. Like you can make, like if you pay there's two different types of fees that you're going to have. One is just for the regular access, and then the other one, you're able to make 5 scheduled appointments with me to get one-on-one learning if that's what you need out of it. You can select that plan to pay that one-time fee and have 5 appointments available. After the 5 appointments, you will have to pay a certain amount of money to gain more appointments. But again, you shouldn't need more than just 5 because this course is not, it's a go at your own pace, of course. There's only like a certain amount of things to it. And I'm really excited for you guys to see this course. I've been working on this for a bit, and Bumble has been helping me. While yes, Bumble is not on the course, they're a part of it. As you guys know, me and Bumble work as a team, and she's my best friend, and I love her dearly. So she has been helping me and work on this. We're in the works of advertisement as well for it, getting car stickers and stuff like that as well. We have a lot of things rolling on this, and I'm so excited to release it and let you guys know when it is coming out. But yeah, please, for right now, if you don't know the laws, go check out the ADA.gov website. But if you do want those courses, you can always reach out and say, hey, when the courses come on, let me know. I want to get on the course. And I'm more than happy to send you anything the link to everything and all that when it is available. But we are going to continue on with the podcast because we kind of a little bit derailed on that. Thank you for that.
Wow! Interesting information.
Wow. But topic number
you
2 is
like
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you like my I don't want to, what do I call it, like average consumer?
I mean, it's a good promo. I've been kind of
It's
like
a
hinting it
it,
during the lives, and everything. So,
it's the
um,
kid in the the corner being like, hey, what's that? Is it a
what?
bird? Is it a plane? No, it's service dog educator.
Online training course. Oh, I
Online
forgot that
training course. Oh
one.
my gosh. But yeah,
Yeah.
so but yeah, we're looking forward to launching this. We're very excited, in growing. I've even told my parents about it. I'm like, hey, mom, dad, guess what? We might be helping launch a website soon. And they're like, what?
We're going to be launching a website. We're going to be launching an online training course on that website. You're going to be so we haven't really figured out the payment manners and everything for it.
But we're gonna figure that
It's
out in the
either
future. We're gonna
Yeah,
figure it out.
for right now, what I can say is like it would be probably as of right now PayPal, until we can get an actual payment thing going
Payment.
on
Yeah.
there. As of right now, it's going to be PayPal, and like I said, this is not a subscription, guys. You're not paying this certain like for like this is an example. This is not the actual cost of it, but like $5, you're not paying $5 a month. You're going to pay a one
One time
time
fee.
fee of a certain amount of money, and it depending on which plan that you want, which is the availability for me to get access to you and have a conversation and help you with one-on-one, or you just want to take the course. It's going to be that one-time fee. Bam, you have it. And if there's any updates, you would have to pay like a less percentage, like it would be like $2 for the other course that you could take that is additional onto it. And all that. So I'm very excited for this to come out. And I'm really, really I hope that you guys are gonna love it. I hope that you guys are gonna want it. Like at least those of you who need it are gonna want to take it and want to be a part of this, because I really did put my heart and soul into this, and I'm really excited about it. But let's get on to topic 2 for today. Topic 2, training employees on service dog law. Now, this one I am so excited to talk about because, oh my gosh, this is needed so much. I cannot
As am
stress
I.
it.
I am also excited because as somebody who has managed businesses and run restaurants and run retail locations, I'm excited for this one.
Uh, I always tell people who come in here, regardless of if you're a manager, if you're an employee, if you're an owner, if you run a business in any sort of way, please hear me out when I say this. Please train your employees on the federal law. Know what the questions are. Know what they can and can't ask. And this is exactly what's going to happen on the online course. If you are a business, I would ask you to take this online course, and then have your employees take this online course as well. It's going to tell you what a business can ask you, what the questions actually are, and what the responses are supposed to be. And then it's also going to go into what you can't ask them, and what they can't do, and how a dog shouldn't behave, and all of this stuff according with law. So again, if you're a business and you are wanting to take this course, reach out. I will give you dates when it's available. Like I said, we'll be posting hopefully shortly about when it's going to be available and everything. But that's what's all going to be in that course as well. And I'm really, really wanting people to not only get education, but to pass this on, pass on the reins, so that way employees can't have an excuse of, oh, I didn't know. I thought you could ask that. Or it seems like a good dog to me. Like, even though
Or
the
they just
dog
don't
is
ask anything at all.
exactly, the dog is sitting in a cart or in a buggy or in a basket, barking its head off and saying, really, that's a controlled dog to you? Like, you clearly know that that dog is not controlled. Like, come on.
Yeah, and another one. It's what is it? It's like God forbid, like the employee get bit or someone else get bit, and then they get like extremely discouraged, and it's like, hey, you don't have to be scared. You don't have to be upset. Just this is what you can ask. This is what you can ask. It's simple, it's easy, it takes literally less than 2 seconds, and if you know what you're listening for and you know what you're looking for, you will be able to discern way faster, way safer. You don't even have to get up in the dog's face. You can do it from across a room. I've done it from across a room.
Right. And uh, I just, I wish that companies and organizations would take it seriously like we do, because while they don't have anything to lose, depending on the corporation and the business that we're talking about, we have everything to lose. And I wish that people gave a shit at the end of the day. You know, people cared about disabled individuals like people care about politics. You know, you have the side that you're on, and you care about what happens to on your side. You know, what happened to all of us being people, and if something happens to somebody, it's tragic either way. You know, same thing with this. You know, if something happens to us, why can't it be tragic that this happened and we do something to fix it? Not just say, okay, slap a band-aid on it, you're okay. Same with like
Or
school reviews.
or
You can't slap a
alternatively they
band-aid on
go
it.
or alternatively they just go, well, it doesn't affect me, so it's not my problem.
Slapping a band-aid on it, basically.
Essentially, but even the Band-Aid is giving it some attention, but
Well,
I'm
that's
more
what they
concerned with
do though. They
people.
slap a band-aid, they say, oh, like
That's too
prayers.
bad.
I'm sorry, you know, maybe we can, you know, put this law around it to make it a little bit more challenging. But they're not, you know what I mean? Like they may do something to to again bandage it, but it doesn't fix the whole problem. And that's the whole issue with everything. It's not just about service dogs. It's about school pew pews. It's about politics. It's about everything. I love the scene from Hunger Games of Katniss saying, you know, when it comes down to the government in the capital, they don't care. That's how I feel about our government, is that they don't give two shits about us people. They only care about the rich. They only care about the leaders. And that's all they care about. They don't care about anybody else. Because at the end of the day, we're like little ants and we outnumber them and they know it, so they're going to stick their grasshopper feet and smush us down as much as they can.
Heh, Bug's Life reference.
It is. You saw where I was going with
I,
it.
I saw your Bug's Life reference, and I raised you movie Ants. It's like, it's just we're so far at the bottom of the totem pole that unfortunately the only way that we're going to be able to make a difference is if somebody actually listens. And that's why we make these podcasts, is because maybe someone will. Someone will
Some
hear us and go, okay, maybe, we need to be paying attention more.
Someone someday hopefully will listen to this, and I hope it's not in years time, and when these, you know, these podcasts become popular for some reason and we're old and decrepit, you know, somebody saying, oh man, did you ever listen to the Beyond the Leash podcast? Like they were saying real time information back in 2026. Like I hope these videos reach people sooner, but if it doesn't happen, if you're in the year 2000 and 100 and
God,
you're listening to
God,
this,
God, 2045.
or okay, 2100, 200.
2100?
Yeah, 2100. Thank
2100?
you. I couldn't think of the name.
God, God, we're gonna have, listen, listen,
2100.
listen, you know
2100.
how,
We got it now.
listen, I'm gonna pose this to you. Just like how Game Grumps put it, Liquid Game Grumps, it's gonna be Liquid Beyond the Leash podcast. You're just gonna inject it directly into your brain. Just, yo, have you seen this
Anyways,
new video of these like 50-year-old women talking about service dogs on the internet? Dude,
wait a
totally
minute.
inject it in.
This was dated in 2026. They are
Oh, dude, it's
unalive now.
vintage. Dude, it's
It's so
vintage.
vintage. Like, man.
Bruh, it
Anyway, well, if
smells
you're
like
listening to
socks.
this in 100 years from now, or even like however long it takes us to get to that year and everything, and nothing has changed, fucking change it. Do your
If
best
nothing
to
has
change it.
changed, listen,
We
if
have
nothing has
failed.
changed in the next 20 years, I'm going to put it right now. Nothing's going to change in the next 20 years. I'm going to say that. I'm going to put it at that.
And, but that's what comes into like corporations and businesses training their employees, though, is that they need to start training them.
I
And,
would
and
agree.
then the public starts learning. Once the employees start doing it, then the public starts learning it. Because if you have Karen coming in with her dog and her dog's not trained, and then the establishment knows the laws and says, hey, we can't do this, and anyone who comes in with a dog that's not trained, bam, it starts something, and then it stops happening, at least makes it less than a really good less than, you know what I mean? And we don't
Yeah.
have to worry about it as much.
I
We're not
mean,
having to shoot videos.
yeah, I would agree. And, on top of that, you're completely right. If we start training the employees what they can and cannot say, if we start telling these corporations you don't have to be scared of emotional support animal owners, like, like Walmart, again, is the biggest, proponent, of the perpetuation of not really doing anything but saying a lot. They do an awful lot of yapping with not a whole lot of brain. But,
Right.
if they started realizing that emotional support animals aren't allowed inside of grocery stores like they already say they aren't, and they actually said, oh, they actually gave some muscle to it and said, yeah, we're starting to crack down on it, we're not allowing emotional support animals in here, we know what to ask, we're not scared of you, you can sue us all you want, we're gonna win and we're gonna recuperate our money either way. It would really, really, really help, because again, we need precedent set. We
Well, if
need
they
these
would know the
cases
law, they would
set.
know that even if Karen came up to them and said, "Oh, I'm going to sue you for asking me what my work that my dog is trained to perform, and if it's for a disability and everything," like they would fucking know that that's not something that they can sue them for.
I know,
In
and again,
reality,
even if they are, again, it's a case precedent. It says, hey, you know, they ask the legal questions. We don't know why you're getting up in arms about it. If your animal's an actual legitimate service animal, you should be able to answer the questions. And again, if you have case precedent, usually people will start to go, okay, well, that's not working now anymore. So obviously I'm not going to do it anymore.
right,
Again, it's giving them the backbone to go, hey, if you wanna, you can try. It ain't gonna work, but you can try. I mean, again, when I worked in restaurants for like the longest time, I don't even have enough fingers or toes on my body to count how many times I've been told by people, I'm gonna sue you for asking me that, or I'm gonna sue you for kicking me out. It's like, okay, I asked you the two legal questions. You didn't want to answer, or you answered them incorrectly, or you answered with emotional support. Go for it. Do it. I know what my rights are. Do you know what yours are? It's kind of like it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are commercial? It's like, I know what my rights are. Do you know yours? Like,
right. I
it's
accidentally
not
sent an
that
invite to
hard.
somebody by accident. Whoops. Oh well, they didn't join. Yeah,
Good.
100%.
And, again, I wish that corporations would have the backbone to tell people no. I get that the customer's always right mentality sucks, but you can tell people no. Like, what's really funny is now that I work in retail again, it's like I've gotten in the habit of telling people no, and people just act so surprised. Like, I'm not even joking, because like I work in a typical quote unquote man's job. I'm not going to get into details of where I've worked, just because I don't like getting into personal business on the internet. But I work in a typical man job. I work in a typical quote unquote man's job. And what's really funny is, they expect me, the 5'6" nothing girl that has a walker, to just go, oh yes, we have, this product, or we have that product, or, oh, I'm so sorry that you feel that way, and deal with conflict resolution. And it's like, yeah, you're supposed to act all, very light-hearted and airy and whatnot. And I'm just like,
You're so
no.
innocent. Blah blah.
And then, it's really funny whenever I get an adult male customer, and they come up to me and they're like, "What are you, stupid?" And I go, "Absolutely not. I'm highly educated. I don't really need to be here. I could be somewhere else. I mean, if you want the help, I can give you the help, but I'm going to give you your attitude right back to you. So do you want to change it, or do you want me to continue to have this attitude?" Like, I have zero issue staring a bull in the face, with their horns charging at me. I got zero issue with that. I've faced much bigger problems than an adult male, in their 60s, screaming at me. It's like, they're not scary. I've seen way scarier things.
100%. But I
Like
think we
I've
should.
had,
It's a good.
yeah, I
Go
was gonna
on.
say I've had like a almost 5,000 pound bull, male bull with horns, charge at me. That was terrifying. Not Greg in his summer shorts and flip flops and a polo t-shirt yelling at me about something that's not my problem. But if we want to move on to the third topic, hello.
Sorry, I was answering my brother.
Now you're fine.
Um,
I'll cut that
but
mute
I
out.
think we should. It's a great time to move on to the third topic because I do want to get off at 9:30 today because I do have to get up early tomorrow.
Oh
But
boy.
the third topic of tonight and our last and final topic that we will be discussing on the podcast, Beyond the Leash podcast, is owner trained versus program dog service dogs. So we have a lot of people that come in on during my regular scheduled lives talking about, how there's no owner, like they don't know anything about owner trained dogs, and then they believe that service dogs come through programs. Now, are there programs out there that can help you train a service dog for you, whether you're a veteran or just a disabled individual? Yes, there are programs out there. There can be scam programs, there can be good programs. You have to do your research to find out what is a good program and a scam program, is what my biggest advice to anyone who is contemplating this. So during this topic, we're going to get into, the benefits of owner trained and the cons, and then same with program dogs. We're going to go over the benefits and the cons of that in every way. And I also want to dive in a little bit to talk about minors getting dogs as well, because I do get a lot of minors that come in here that are wanting information about this as well. So let's get into the first. We're going to talk about owner trained dogs, the pros and the cons of it. So I'll start, and then I'll let you go and say your piece, and then we can move on from there. So
Sounds good.
basically, I have two owner trained service dogs, and then I never went to a program. Couldn't afford it, didn't want it, blah blah blah, and everything. So, with that being said, is I chose the owner training route because, to me, while programs can basically do the brunt of the training of your dog, or training a dog before, they can be pretty costly and everything. And the benefits for me of owner training my service dog and my son's service dog was, the bonding was a lot quicker and a lot better. There was, hands on with that. And I was able to learn how to be a trainer to a certain extent to my own dog. I wasn't like a qualified trainer or anything, but I was a trainer to my own dog. And then it also came into to play, that I was able to financially purchase my own dog. I didn't have to start off with a 2-year-old dog that maybe I didn't even want the breed of that dog. I didn't like the breed of the dog, and that's where, or when you get a program dog, it's you can give up that thing where, you don't get your own dog. I'm gonna let you speak on the your owner training experience though.
So, I'm thankful that like I've had like the foreknowledge of training dogs for the last, decade. I started training when I was 16 years old. I started with my neighbor's dogs, and then I went on to, owning my own dogs. My health started deteriorating, so I started, learning how to train an actual service dog. But I will say this: there is a sort of art to it. Um, and as much as I, love owner training, it is a passion project that few have and few are successful at. I've seen a lot of owner trained service dogs in my area, and thankfully, they're kind of good. They're a little rough around the edges, but then again, that's what in training is for. I rarely ever get to see the, finished or completed product, but I would say this, it's kind of a give and take with both, though. You you face potentially getting an untrained dog either way. You face potential washing either way, whether that be owner trained or also with program dogs. And it's yeah, I always say this: if you can't put your hands on your own dog, you don't know what you're gonna get. So I do recommend a mixture of both, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that and everything. Um, I couldn't go the owner training route, or not the owner training, but the program route due to like location and everything else. So I do want to like talk about like the pros and the cons of, like training, having a program dog. So the big thing is that you'll just have to pay whatever fee it is to get into that program dog. You're going to have a vaccinated dog. You're going to have an older dog that's about around 2 to 3 years old. You're going to get a majority trained dog, or they're going to help you complete the training of the dog. So you're not really going to have to do too much. You're already going to have a pre-started dog. It's around a year and a half to 2 years of how old that dog's going to be, maybe three, depending on how old, like how the training went for the dog. And like I said, they're going to help you with the training route and everything. And you're not going to need to do a lot. They're going to teach you some of the things that you could train your dog in the future, such as like future service dogs, but they're going to do majority of the training. Now, the cons of this is you're going to have to sign a contract, whatever that contract states. It's point blank how it is. You may not be able to own another animal in the household. They're gonna come and do house checks possibly, depending on what program you go to. I've heard of some programs doing that and seeing if the house is able to house a dog, or the right house to house a dog. You're going to have to pay anywhere between, again, this is an estimated amount, this is not accurate at all, but anywhere between $20 to $90,000 for a dog, and depending on the disabilities and everything, you could pay less, you could pay more. Like I said, this is all depending on location, programs, and all of that. So those are the main cons. And then you're also on a waiting list. So you're waiting anywhere between 2 to 5 to 8 years, depending on the program, for a dog. And a lot of people, when they are starting to retire their dogs, they usually do this pre-waiting, you know what I mean? So they start around like when the dog turns like 5, they get back on a waiting list. So that way when their dog retires, bam, they have a new service dog like that, and they don't have to worry about it. But a lot of people who are just gaining dogs that are first time handlers, they have to wait those years without the dog. And a lot of them are like, man, this is so long to wait. So I always tell people you have to choose between this is either you are going to have a dog that is already trained that you possibly couldn't have trained the dog to do, or you're going to have to train that dog for that 2 years. So would you rather have the dog, train the dog, and then build the bond, do all of that stuff, or wait and have the dog already trained? If you rather have a dog already trained, you're going to want to wait that 2 years. If you don't want to wait and you're impatient like me, or don't have the money like me, you're going to want to go with the owner trained option. But again, this is all again preference of what you need, and what your and the need of your disability and what you're able to do. This is not about, what other people say to do. And I think that's that same goes in with like breeds. A lot of people are asking for breed recommendations. Any of this that we talk about in here, we cannot give any sort of, like during my lives, I can't give any breed recommendations for a reason, because we don't know your disability. We don't know what you can and can't handle at the end of the day. Plus, also, that dog still may not be a good fit for you either way. So, and it's not just one particular dog that's going to be great. Any dog can be great at being a service dog. It's all really depending on that dog's temperament and how that dog gets trained some of the times. And that's the big intake that I want to take out of, all of this is, when we talk about owner training versus program dogs. But Bumble, do you want to add on what you think are some cons and pros of program training dogs?
I mean, again, you kind of touched on a little bit of everything that I would have, especially with there being a kind of waiting list and also a set of rules that you're going to have. That's why I am very like 50-50, whenever it comes to training a service dog. I would say getting your own dog and bonding with it is going to give you a, I don't want to say like smoother ride, but it'll give you a more kind of soul fulfilling, feeling, that you did something with this dog and, you trained it yourself. But also working with a program, it will give you the guidance that you'll need because there are going to be bumps along the roads. And, that's an inevitability for everybody, whether there be a slip up in training or, you might have to start over on something or, potentially, either there might be an accident or something. Getting with a trainer that knows what they're doing is going to be exponential and absolutely a valuable resource that will absolutely, you know, make or break you. Are there some people that don't need a trainer? Yeah, absolutely. Are there some people that do need extra help? Yeah, there are. Are there people that fully rely on trainers? Heck yeah. But I'm of the variety of, 50-50 because you don't know everything. You're not going to prepare for everything, but sometimes, getting with other service dog handlers or getting with programs, they'll prepare you for things that you didn't think you needed to prepare for.
I can agree. There, especially when it comes down to, and I want to talk about the minors really quick. When it comes down to minors, needing service dogs, and this goes out to parents and everything of minors who are potentially needing service dogs or have service dogs. Number one, you're the owner of that dog. Point blank, period. That's what you are. My son's service dog, I own his service dog. I am the sole caregiver of that dog. I pay for the medical bills, I pay for the food, I take care of the dog, I do everything for the dog. I did all the training for the dog. It is not my son's responsibility for that. That's my responsibility. So if you have a child that has a service dog or getting a service dog, it is your responsibility. So you need to make sure, regardless if it's from a program or you're doing the training, that that dog is held to the standards. And minors listening to this, I don't care how old you are, if you're 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17 years old. Okay? You need to hear me when I say this. Not only does your parent own the dog, can you be involved with the training? Yes, but do not be the sole person that trains your dog. Please don't. And here's why not to do this, okay, guys? It's not because it has a little bit to do with that you're a minor, but you don't have the training experience. I don't care if you've been training dogs since you were 2 years old. There is no way that you've been training a dog since you're 2 years old. You may be was involved with your dad or whoever you were involved with, and they were, showing you how to do it, and they may have started you when you were like 8, 9 years old when you could listen better, but you don't have the experience to back it up. You need somebody there to help you to make sure if a dog does a certain thing that they know how to correct that behavior correctly and you don't end up injuring that dog. So at the end of the day, guys, if whatever this comes out to, wherever you're hearing this off of, make sure when you have a dog, you get it trained properly, regardless if it's owner training or if it's a program dog. Make sure the dog has proper training done, because if your dog's not properly trained, it is your ass on the line. And for parents, it's your ass on the line.
I would
Not
fully
the,
agree with that.
and that's what we all need to understand, especially parents. We all need to understand that it's our asses on the line. And for us service dog handlers, again, our asses on the line. You're the one facing jail time. You're the one that's, potentially going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to add?
Not really.
Are you sure? You usually have something to add.
No, not really. I mean, again, you've pretty much touched everything, that, I would have. Um, and so it's just, yeah, it's very nuanced. I don't train. When I was a trainer, I was able to start writing up contracts because, again, when I started this, I was 16. I couldn't make legal deals. I, had to have my parent, make sure that she, went with me to my training sessions because, again, I was technically a minor. But once I started kind of doing it, on my own when I turned 18, 19, and I started making actual profit on it, I started writing up contracts and whatnot. And one of my internal rules was that if anyone under the age of 18 was ever to be in my classes, they had to have a parent involved. The parents have to sign the waiver, parents have to sign, parents have to pay for it, parents have to be there every step of the way, every fall, every stumble, every trip, every, good boy, good girl, every bad dog, good dog. They were to be there, they were to be proactive, that was just a part of my contract.
Right.
So it's just,
I think I like, and this is coming from a non-trainer's perspective. If I were to run a business like that, I think that I would be okay with them letting, like, depending on the age, like, of course, like, if it's, a child under a certain age, I would say like 14, 15. I would allow them to be by themselves as long as the parent consented to that. Like, I would have in the contract, they are allowed to be unaccompanied but without you. But you do need to check in afterwards of like how the training session went and if there's any like things that needs to be improved on the dog. And if you need to know how to do that, I can show you how to do that.
yeah.
But I think that this is a good place to stop on the podcast.
I would too. I mean, I feel like it's a, good, place to kind of end at. It's very well rounded. You know, it's it's a pretty good place to stop.
All right, everyone. Well, that is it for the episode of Beyond the Leash podcast. Thank you all for hanging out today and learning with us about the amazing world of service dogs. If you did enjoy the show, make sure you guys follow up above, sorry, and subscribe to the channel. Leave a quick comment. It helps reach out to more dog lovers like you. Until next time, stay positive, keep those tails wagging, and give an extra treat from us. Good night, everybody.
Music can rock your body right. Come on, rock that body. Rock that body.